listening to the Built to Grow podcast.
All right, welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. I'm your host, Tim Lyons, in studio, joined as always by Randy Inkston. What's up, man? Happy birthday.
Hey, thanks. It's probably like a month past that now.
Oh, that's true.
I didn't think about that, but yeah.
But it was your birthday.
It was.
It's my birthday next month.
Yeah, happy birthday. It's probably closer to your birthday than it is my birthday.
After the Grow Summit is my birthday. And speaking of, the Grow Summit's right around the corner. We are locked and loaded, sold out. It is a done deal. And, we can't wait to tell you guys all about it after the event. So we might have a couple of the speakers. I'm sure we'll pop in early and jump on a podcast.
I like that.
And we'll do a little podcast episode, the Grow Summit special. But before we get to that, this episode is brought to you by Formula Done. Our friend Jen Neal, somebody that we've used in the past. In fact, she helped us build out our membership site. I'm not certain she's doing that anymore, but what she is doing is helping you create effective content that speaks to your perfect client, so you stop leaving money on the table, stop running paid ads that are not effective. Mostly organic, mostly coaching, but she helps you develop a plan that brings authority and awareness to your brand, and especially for a local business. Nothing could be better. Go check her out at thevirtualgen.com. That's thevirtualgen with 2 N's.com. She will be at the Grow Summit. Be sure to stop by her booth. She's got some goodies to share with everybody. So excited to have Jen. It's been a while since we've worked with her, but from all our experience with the Formula Done, it was perfect. It was just a done deal for us.
Yeah, I spoke to her. Actually, we were speaking about some tech stuff with one of our sites, and in our conversation, I actually reached out. I was like, you know what, Jen? I think you'd be a perfect sponsor for our Growth Summit. And the reason being is what she's doing now is helping. I believe it's just the course she's got that is helping local businesses, brands specifically, understand the buying cycle. Oh yeah. How to I talk about this all the time, right? Like the buying cycle is elongated for a lot of people, right? Gone are the days of a Facebook ad slapping somebody in the face and 500 people are running in to buy, join your gym. It just isn't that way right now. And she is teaching effective ways of how to kind of guide customers through that journey, right? It's almost like writing a book or a novel. Like that journey needs to be figured out, and certain things need to be said and done and introduced in order for that client to understand what it is you do, who it is you are. And that's what her course teaches. And I think it's perfect if you're lacking, that good, consistent newsletter, nurture, onboarding sequence, things like that.
Indoctrination.
Indoctrination. Perfect campaign.
Yeah.
That's exactly what she's doing.
And I would tell you, us included, I think we just need to step up our marketing chops. We're so used to, like you said, slapping offers out there and hoping somebody bites. But this would be another pole in the water. Absolute perfect, something we align with. So check out Jen at the Grow Summit. So this episode, not sure what episode number this is.
Way deep in the 200s.
Deep in the twos. We're going to talk about trainer pay. This came up in our Business Talk with Fitness Professionals Facebook group. If you're not in there, go join it. We have conversations all the time about stuff. Trainer pay. How do you pay your trainers? And, we're going to dive into this episode right now. We're going to talk about different ways. We have definitely our preferred way. I've recently heard of others. In fact, we've done other ways, and we kind of settled in on this way. And there's a lot of reasons. We'll explain, the reasoning behind it. But, I think gone are the days of the people doing a percentage of the revenue like a split. I mean, well, I take that back. They're not gone.
No,
they should be gone.
Thank you. Yeah.
A lot of these times, especially if you're doing a open model where trainers pay you rent and maybe they're a contractor for you, and then you're paying them, they're getting like some 60-40 split or something.
Yeah. Let's preface the kind of the different different types of pay, because it's not just the way you pay your trainers. I think your relationship as a business owner to the rest of your business, like the deliverable, the trainers, and then who's doing the work.
Yeah, that makes a big difference.
You know what I mean? Like that matters. Are you the type of owner that are you concerned about the deliverable and it's your brand, your business, your trainers doing the job? Okay, then there's, these types of pay. If you're going to be that independent business owner, but every trainer walking through the door could be doing their own thing, entirely different business.
That's very true.
So
very true.
So understand that, right? It's not necessarily an apples to apples. Now, if you are, and the reason I wanted to say that, because we do find that you are the business owner, you want the control, your business is set up to be that type of deliverable, but yet your pay is then the wrong type of pay for your business. This is, where you should be listening in. Mm-hmm. If everybody coming into your business is paying you a flat fee to have the right to train in there,
totally different.
It's different, right? And if you can't control the deliverable, if that's your business model, that's not your position. So understand that.
There's a lot that goes into it. So you have to, take a giant step back mm-hmm. on decide how you want to run and operate your business. From our standpoint, from our coaching practices, we want you as the gym owner to control the experience from top to bottom. It's your baby. You should not let your coaches come in and do their own thing if they're training your clients.
Correct.
Okay, so that let's make that clear up front. That's what we believe in. Is it the only way? No. I mean, of course, you could have a general access gym, hire a bunch of contractors. They write their own programs. They source their own clients. Mm-hmm. You give them clients. You do a split. That's not what we believe in. So we'll probably speak to what we believe in on this show. But again, there's other ways to do this.
Yeah, that could be a viable, different business model. That's not what we're speaking to.
So first and foremost, in this industry, trainers on average, and this is from IHRSA. Okay, IHRSA's the International Health and Racket Sports Association or whatever. That's such an old school name, but they've been around the longest. They're kind of like the governing body of gyms, going back to racket clubs. But they tell us that on average, a trainer enters the industry and exits within 12 months. They don't last long. And you think about, well, why is, they're gung-ho, they get their certification, they go out either on their own, they work in a big box gym, they work in a training studio, and they're done in 12 months.
That's because they got their acting gig in LA, bro.
Yeah. Well, the unfortunate thing is, up until maybe recently, trainers, personal fitness coaches haven't been considered in the professional lens.
I completely agree.
They've been a hobbyist. They've been, tank tops and fanny packs. If you go and Google personal trainer,
pain and gain.
Pain and gain. If you go Google personal trainer on Google Images, you'll see what the market thinks of a mm-hmm. personal trainer. Now, we don't believe in that. We have career coaches and we have people that stick around a while, but we have had plenty of coaches come and go and they change career paths after here, or they're in the career change as they're in your gym. So think about it. And I heard our friend Rick talk about this just on a recent episode too. He says, hey, your trainer pay should be no more than 20% of the hourly session revenue. Okay, so if you think about it that way, well, that could kind of give you some idea of what that hourly pay should be. The way that we do it, we do a flat pay. No matter what you do, you clock in, you clock out. If you're training, 6 people, 4 people, 1 person, 0 people, you're going to get a flat rate. And we call it block scheduling. So there's a morning shift and an afternoon shift. So our shifts are 5 to noon and then 1 to 8. Okay. So in between there, a couple days a week, we have that 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, transition between the morning and the afternoon. That's when we do our team meetings mm-hmm. or podcasts and things, because that's when everybody's here at the same time, middle of the day. We don't necessarily train at that time, but I'm just saying we're here, we do other stuff. So they're training either, and we still have very little of it, but we still have team training on the schedule a couple times a week. So they're going to get the same pay for that as they do if they're training semi-private training. We guarantee X amount of hours per week, and it's up to us as the gym to fill up those schedules. It's not up to the coach. They're here to train. They're here to educate and make a great experience around the training session, but it's a flat rate. What that does for the gym and for the business is you have a set payroll. You know what you need to overcome to make profit.
Sure.
Your base operating expense stays pretty consistent throughout the year. Obviously, there's things like marketing that comes and goes a little bit. Maybe your electric bill goes up in the summer or things like that. There's things that you can do to combat that. Obviously, you can do that equalizer
stuff, yeah.
So there's that way. Okay. We've done others, but this is what we've settled in. And what it's nice about it is there's no split shifts for these coaches. So they're not training 3 times, 3 hours in the morning, taking the middle of the day and coming back in the afternoon. We have another coach that comes in. On top of that, every client can train with any coach. So what that does for the gym, because we work as a team and we have a team approach to our programming, comes from the top down, and our coaches speak to each other about clients, either in the team meetings or through our coaches cards and other online ways that we communicate. If Mrs. Johnson has a session today at 8, but she calls in at 7 and says, hey, I can't, something came up. Can I train later? The answer is yes. We can always get her in on another time slot in the afternoons, or say it's 3:00. We train every hour on the hour. And I think it's clean that way. I've seen people doing these 15-minute and 45-minute. It's just too hard for us to, it's really easy to explain in a sales process that, hey, from 5 a.m. to 8 o'clock at night, every hour on the hour, we're available. You can come in and train. So that the I don't have that time, or that your schedule doesn't work for me, kind of that goes out the window. Okay, so that's the flat rate pay. We speak to it as a salary, although we track it hourly. So how does that work, Tim? Well, we're basically guaranteeing them, we're saying you're on the clock 37 hours a week. We pay you for 40 because we expect them to come a little early, stay a little late, an hour here or an hour there every week, kind of like it washes out. We don't clock in per se. We don't clock out per se, but we monitor, if somebody's showing up late all the time, that you're going to know.
You're going to know. Sure.
The clients are going to make sure to tell you. Right? So it's not a micromanaged approach. It's very, here's your schedule for the week, and it's pretty much the same schedule. But, you're here at 5 and you train until noon and you're out of here. And they have the rest of their day to do whatever they want. Okay. In the past, we've done things we called it unit pay. And we paid an X amount per head in a training session. This is an interesting way to do it. It kind of incentivizes the coach to have as many people on their schedule as possible. It nurtures the relationship. Maybe they work a little harder because they're going to get an extra unit or 2 units that hour. But our pay would fluctuate all over the board, and it's a different way to do it. And we used to do it for a couple years in the past, but payroll was kind of a pain, and we'd have to like track all the heads that people checked in if they were on the schedule but not checked out.
Checked in,
Did they come? Did they not come? So there was a lot of management around that. The benefit was maybe you paid a little less on those hours. Maybe you only had 1 or 2 people, but you paid a lot more when you had a full schedule. And on paper, you'd say, well, you're busier because you have more clients, so the payroll could go up. But I never settled on that. I never really liked it because we could get really busy, and then our payroll would skyrocket, and we wouldn't really see the profits settle out at the end of the month. And it was like, well, wait a minute.
It doesn't seem like it makes sense.
It does and it doesn't. Yeah. I can see both sides, but we like this, the flat hourly pay. There's bonus incentives. There's performance incentives quarterly that we track, and we have KPIs and stuff that go into the next year's increases. And there's periodic increases. Sure. If I look at a coach and I'm just watching them crush it all the time, I'm gonna bring him. I'm gonna give him a raise. I had
a conversation before this podcast, actually, with our coaching client on pay, the expectation of the job. Unfortunately, they're in a position where people are showing up. They're not even doing the basic functions of the job.
Yeah, that's tough.
And when they're not doing that, the pushback from the ownership on, hey, guys, we need these things to happen. It's like, how do I incentivize somebody who's not even doing the bare minimum to do more? And so it was tough. I don't know how that transitioned into what I wanted to touch on here, though, but is part of your current pay scale, like you were talking about, the other incentives
Yeah.
versus like the unit or versus a per head pay scale or all those things. A lot of it's the emphasis on the relationship that the coach has with the individual as well. The individual coach to relationship, not team, right? So in your business, any one of those coaches, there's benefit for each of them to have a relationship with each of those clients, as opposed to like the per head or per unit type of thing. It almost incentivizes them to compete with other coaches on getting, because the so much of the weight of their pay is slighted to the number of people that are underneath them, as opposed to just delivering that service. And it can become risky. We've talked about that in the past. What is that fine line between having a great relationship between a coach and that client, and then all of a sudden the ability to, or the unfortunate circumstance when that coach leaves, how many of those people are then tied to the person rather than what they were doing in the function of the job?
It's a tough line to navigate, because all things say have that great coach-client relationship, they'll stay longer. But again, this is such a personal business that they get so attached to a particular coach. You almost have to force change.
Some of it, sure.
You almost have to change schedules on them and just like force them to train with other. I mean, it's kind of weird to think about that, kind of rocking the boat with your clients a little bit, but it's forcing them to experience a new coach.
We've talked about it too. I like the idea because with anything, right, you could frame it differently, right? The personal relationship that person has with the coach doesn't necessarily equate to a result, other than the willingness to be there and enjoy the process, that type of thing. But maybe that comfort is why they're not experiencing the true growth potential. So by putting another coach who brings a different skill set,
and that's absolutely what happens.
But that's the hard sell that we need to. They get
comfortable with a coach. Yep. A coach gets comfortable with the client and doesn't push them as hard. Now they're friends, and like, I don't want, they bend the rules for a client. Oh, you don't have to do that one today. Like that's, again, it works against you in some ways. So there's a lot of ways to look at it. But if we're talking about coaches' pay, a couple things to think about. At least in this area, and I would say it's the opposite in the Northeast of the U.S., is where the seasons change and people leave town. Okay. And so one of the benefits of having a flat block schedule to the coaches that you need to sell them on, especially if they've been in the industry more than 2-3 years, that, hey, you're getting the same in the slow times as you do in the busy times. We're taking the hit, if you will, but we're going to keep your pay maintained throughout the year. It's a salary. You can have a lifestyle around your wages. And so you're not like scrapping,
Robin Summers.
Yeah. And in this area, that's a real thing, because people leave. And again, it's 199 degrees here. They're going to leave.
Even equated to like those I know in the service industry, the bar industry, bartenders. Thing. I mean, if you don't budget, you are broke. Like you cannot survive the summer on that job. You know what I mean? Because you make all your money when everyone's here. Correct. And so it's the same thing with our training, but there are corporate positions in that industry that doesn't affect. Same as this, right? It's and then you do, like you said, you have to paint that picture to somebody who's looking for that role.
Yep.
And like he said, sell it.
You have to sell it, because we got into it was a little Facebook battle on a post that we had. I posted this. This actually happened to us. We had a coach that was on unemployment, came in for a job interview. And we liked her, and she's been around. She was basically getting unemployment. She got her stimulus, and she got the federal bonus on top of the unemployment from the state. And she was training clients for cash on the side. And she didn't want to work. I guess
didn't want to take a position because she was making more money
not working. And that was my post. It's like, why work if you can sit at home and make money? I mean, I don't blame her. Like, why would you? Because if you think about time, you only have X amount of time. Why do I want to give up this stuff? And now my time is at the job. And
it's human nature. Like the core basis of all of us is to do the least amount of work for the maximum result. Like anybody who decides to do other than that is the anomaly. We are the anomaly, guys.
Yep.
But that's the standard. So don't fight that being the fact. Just understand. Yes, that's why so many people are sitting at home right now and don't want to come to your job.
And this is happening in all industries.
It's everywhere. Every single phone call I have right now, somebody's talking about I can't find I can't find employees.
Yep.
Everybody I'm talking to is making more money doing nothing.
Yep.
You throw other things out there. It's just state of the world society right now. The investment thing, everybody's like overnight investment.
Millionaire.
Well, not only that, but the perception of, hey, I can make a lot of money real quick. It's right here.
Yeah.
So everybody's focus is on the quick overnight success.
It's really hurt the work ethic is gone. I don't know. I mean, obviously there's people that don't do the job. We got employees here. They're all working. But yeah, I found it very, very interesting that we're fighting unemployment and the incentives that they're getting from the government that we're paying for with our own tax dollars. We're fighting that as our competition, not another gym. It's not another gym. It's the government that they're fighting. It's like, it's unreal, to be honest with you, how weird it is right now. But so this guy decided to chime in and he said, well, you just need to pay more. I'm like, time out, dude. You don't own a business. You don't understand there's only so much that's on the table to pay. I can pay more. I can pay $200,000 a year and I get somebody to show up tomorrow, but we're not going to have any money left at the end of the day. So it's not just paying more.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you need to, so obviously people don't get it being in the seat that we're in, but there's other things that you can do to incentivize a coach. So when you have a careered coach, a block schedule, a salaried coach, you can do things like paid days off. Obviously, in the state of Arizona, we have to pay. There's like an accrual of sick time. That law got passed a couple years ago. So for every 40 hours of work, they get 1 hour of sick time to go to a doctor. But we would do it anyway. But we have to track it now. It has to be tracked. You can do health insurance. You can do educational credits. There's things you can do. And again, there's bonuses on capacity and performance bonuses that all go into what's called a comp plan that, you can pay this rate, but they have the potential, if they perform, to get X, Y, and Z on top of that. And that's how you technically can compete with, I guess, unemployment. I mean, or other gyms. But you gotta maintain your rates. And so the percentage was 20% of the I guess gross revenue should be in payroll, or should be lower than 20%. If you've got a manager type situation where you've got a couple layers in there, maybe a salesperson, don't go over 30%, maybe 32%. That should be your max for a healthy business. And so you look at all those things and it's like, there's a lot of benefits to staying small in some of these cases, because the profit margins are much higher in a smaller footprint than, say, 10,000 feet. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of pros and cons to every model. With a bigger beast, it takes a lot to feed it. You get to a certain point, your attrition's there. You got to replace 10 to 15 clients every single month because you're losing 8 to 10 clients every single month. And so it becomes this kind of machine you got to continue to feed. So a lot we talked about a lot. There's ways to do it. I would definitely shy away from maybe the percentage fee. I don't necessarily hate it, but not my favorite, the per head unit, fee or pay. I like a flat rate, salaried, locked in schedule. It's very clean. And
one thing that in the conversations that we have with coaches, or other gym owners, I mean, we've heard it all, right? Every possible way somebody could be paid as a trainer, they've done it. Mm-hmm. And more often than not, I think clients or coaches, these gym owners move towards something similar to what you have because of maybe it's just the peace of mind of the controlled expense, versus the consistency of the variable all the time. There's once you can paint the picture towards a coach, show them the incentive, show them the career opportunity, show them hey, this is an opportunity not just to come here and make a wage today, that's the best for you for all of these, what it seems like today, but here's what the future looks like. And that position is entirely different than most of those, other pay scales and stuff. It's always I don't know. I just see it much more like a community team effort, and not that they're not also capable of getting what it is on their own, but it's not. It seems like they're much more part of a team than something where it's like my pay is 100% dependent upon me in this business. You know what I mean? 24/7.
There's so much support that comes from the gym level that if they were on their own, they'd have to do on their own, like the programming, the marketing, the sales, the tracking, all that's handled at the gym level. So they come in, they train clients, they've got their programs done for them. Their job is to have a great experience on the training floor.
And they can turn to this business and say, hey, I want to progress as a coach, with continued education. There is incentive from the organization that, we'll pick up some of that pay. They'll take care, some of that stuff.
There's a lot of things.
Exactly. And if you were to step into an organization and utilize what's available to you and see all of that stuff, for most people, that far outweighs, a decent paycheck hourly, or a larger per hour type paycheck. You know what I mean? There is the safety net of insurance, and it's a career opportunity. It's not just, hey, here's a great job for today.
Yeah, and it's funny, even in corporate America, this happens a lot of times. They have all these benefits that they don't even know exist
constantly.
There's like point rewards programs and points you can buy, stuff like this is corporate America does this. And then even then they don't even understand it. So it makes sense to really lay this out in an interview to explain why you almost have to sell them, because their mindset is independent trainer, $100 an hour.
Exactly. Complete freedom for the most part. But the other end of that security, right? And a lot more of the career type, I think.
It's security, but it's all these expenses that they don't understand.
Yeah. But that's why, like you said,
$100 an hour.
You have to put together a comp plan. This isn't, hey, what's my wage? It's a comp plan. Yeah. Like the individual who's sitting there and understanding, okay, there are other things that's not just a deliverable for the hour I worked that I'm being paid for, that I'm receiving value in from. That has to be clear. Very clear. And I like that,
because it's not clear, especially if they've never seen your business before. It's not clear that they're going to have a set pay the whole year. It's not clear because you got to explain it to them. A lot of times people are coming in as interviewees and they're used to maybe something like an Orange Theory, come in for, you get $30 a class, but you only get 5 classes a week, so you got to bounce around. What about the drive time in between places that, now you're changing uniforms and you got a totally different model to do, there's a lot of reasons why that doesn't make sense to a coach, but you have to show that to them. So,
and as a business owner, if you're hearing this and you've never really, or you just aren't considering all the other options on what you can provide to a trainer or an employee outside of just a wage, use that. I mean, Tim just gave 5 or 6 other different ways that you can incentivize somebody that isn't a direct, increase in their hourly production pay.
Yeah.
And that will help you find better quality candidates around, your competition out there that aren't thinking about bringing people in with those things.
Exactly. Yep. So hopefully that helps you guys maybe look at your comp plans and decide maybe what direction to go. Keep those percentages in mind and explore all options. But, we know how this is how we operate. I just told you exactly what we do. So take it and run if you want it. So
yeah,
that's it for this episode, guys. Keep changing lives. Bye.